Well, hi, pal. It's good to have you back. Like I said last time when we were together, I was going to start putting some little lessons together, and this is the very first one. And I've been drawing up a storm. I have all kinds of things to show you. I wanted to keep it kind of informal, laid back, and almost like a show and tell, if you ever had that in class. And the theme of this first little lesson is throw enough paper airplanes and eventually one will fly. And I'll show you that on the camera above. Maybe we could make sure that that comes in focus. How is that looking? So we have throw enough paper airplanes and eventually one will fly. There's peaches on the paper airplane. So this is one of like an older poster that I made years ago. But I want to just use that as our theme drawing. And to explain it, I don't really have a book like I did before that explained what the cartoons are all about. But I thought I'd just put my glasses on here and just do a little coloring in. This first picture, how does that look? We got everything set there? Okay, good. This is showing Pete with one of the hobbies that he just loves. He loves to make paper airplanes and he loves to fly paper airplanes. But as maybe you've done in the past, you try to throw one and what happens? Well, we'll see what happens here. All right, I'm going to just do a little filling in here, make sure that he has some nice looking little shoes that he's wearing. Okay, so that kind of completes him there. But he's ready to throw that paper airplane. So that's our first frame that we have. And now the next one. He is really getting his arm behind it. And I'm going to use a pen that I just love. Can't remember if I used this one before, but this is a really bold red. Oh my goodness, I just love it. If I can keep it within the lines. There we go. A lot of people ask me, are you going to computer generate the cartoons? And that's something that I've thought a lot about, but I just like stick drawing and just really back to the basics. That's what they're all about. And you'll see that a little bit, especially with this theme. It's really talking about how you can take an idea and develop it, slowly work it, along with your style, and growing your artistic talent, maybe the amount of things that you draw, starting with people or animals. So we got that shirt in, so there he is. He's got a good start to that paper airplane flying away. Now we take a look at the next picture, and he's throwing it pretty hard, and it's starting to climb. There's Pete down there. You see I use the use of a very nice detailed stick band down at the bottom to be picturing him. And can you see that all right on camera? And there it is. It's heading over the sun. And now let's see what happens. Oh no, it's running out of steam. And it's kind of heading downhill. But while we're here, why don't we go ahead and just color in the sun. Got to do a little bit of coloring today. And this point about throw enough paper airplanes and eventually one will fly, a lot of the things that we start out doing, and we might have thought it was a really good idea at the start, and then let me say it's not the greatest, so we change course and direction. But that's kind of nice. I know many artists, they started out with doing things realistic. Everything looked exactly like it would in a photograph, and then they get into abstract art and maybe pastels and charcoal over to oil painting. Okay, that's how we do the classic sun. And that plane looks like it's heading... Oh, okay, not good. And we got a crash landing. So what are you going to do? Well, that can happen to all of us. And it kind of pictures what can happen with some of our artwork or our ideas. We might have an idea for a book, or we think this is just a super idea that we have, and then we find out somebody else already came up with the idea. They already had that kind of artwork or that kind of style. So we have to change course, and that's okay. Well, now we take it back, and you remember how Pete was throwing really hard. And this one looks like it's sailing very nicely. We got that lined up on the camera. Okay. And it looks like it's got smooth sailing. But Peach is down there. She's coming into the picture now. And she's saying, uh-oh. Ooh. Ouch. That's not good. The paper airplane just hit into the tree. So again, sometimes there's obstacles, things in our way that we weren't expecting. And we can kind of get discouraged about it. I was thinking about there was a very famous man named Thomas Edison. And I actually washed windows for a old man up by Chicago. And he had worked with Thomas Edison. And he was a high school kid. And Thomas Edison in Chicago would have all of these young high school kids come in and work mathematical problems for him. And he was one of those kids. And he never forgot that experience. But as he was going along, he learned that in making the light bulb, Thomas Edison tried, and do you remember how many times? It was like 29,000 sometimes. Well, you know, sometimes you think, oh, wasn't that wonderful? But what would you have thought if you were his friend and he tried it 10 times, and then 100 times, and then 1,000 times? You start getting to where you're like, don't you think you should quit? And sometimes that's what can happen with us, with drawing. And that's why I have some drawings I'm going to show you today that I've done a long time ago, and then also recently here, that's going to really emphasize to you. You just have to be determined to stick with it and to make sure that you get to the goal that you want to set for yourself. All right, so if once in a while an obstacle like a tree comes up, we just got to deal with it. And it may just kind of crush our plans, make us feel bad for a little while. But we can deal with that. Okay. So we get back to Pete flying that paper airplane, and here we are at the very end. Eventually one will fly, and there's Peaches, just victorious. And she's just flying, and she looks really proud. So that's kind of the group of pictures I put together. But I wanted to show you a couple sketches that I made. Now this one goes back, probably to 2003. And you notice I just take a look at the two pictures, if I can show you the one. This is the older picture of Peaches. I thought it turned out pretty good, the layout of it. And this one says, and eventually one of them will fly. And then we added, so keep throwing. So keep throwing those paper airplanes, your ideas, in other words. And then putting those aside, this was just a sketch I did along with this thought of having Pete maybe on the airplane. But then I thought, no, we'll have him throwing the paper airplanes. That seems more realistic. And then Peaches can be the one on the airplane. So notice I just put first idea, Pete on the plane, question mark. And that's just a note to me. And that's how I do some of my sketches. So this is all hand drawn. And I kind of just put the ideas together and think, what's going to work the best? Then finally, this is one of the greeting cards that came out of it. Throw enough paper airplanes, and there he is with a bunch of them crashing in to the ground. And he's holding one, and then inside, and eventually one will fly. And there's Peaches, happy about the whole idea. So that's how that idea came together. And that's our theme cartoon for lesson 1. But now I've got a little more of the Pete and Peaches pile here. And each time we get together, I was thinking we could kind of put some pictures and drawings together, and also some of the things that I've written down. Now, remember I said about Thomas Edison and how he tried to make the light bulb so many different times and ways? Well, take a look at this picture here. This is from way back. I think we're talking, this is probably in the late 70s, maybe 1980. So it's quite a while ago. But here's some pictures. I don't know if you can see this, but here's Peaches. I'll show this to you here too so you can kind of see it. And then I'll hold it up for our overhead cam. And I'll just kind of move it around like this so you can kind of see some of the pictures. This guy with some curly hair and from the side. That just gives you an idea of some of the faces that I was trying to sketch out. Now, Pete, early on, here's a picture of him. He's got a mustache. And just to give you an idea, let me see, let me grab a piece of paper here. And I'm going to show you exactly how I used to draw him around 1979. His face, I'd have his eyes exactly the same way. Okay. And then I draw his mustache in, kind of like that. But then instead of drawing his hair, I would come across like this, make a cap, like that, and then his hair was on the side. And that was his original look. So, he's come like quite a ways, hasn't he? But that just shows you how a cartoon can really develop over time. Now, I showed you this picture here of all the sketches I made. Now let me just show you something here that I think you're going to really like. I'm going to kind of show you the setup of how I start sketching an idea for a greeting card. Now, my daughter, Miranda, was helping me with some ideas. We write out different ideas for what would be on the outside and the inside of a greeting card. So that's the first step. And I have a long list of them, and I look them over, and then I start sketching out some things. Now, this one turned out to be Don't Give Up. And we're going to go right through, all the way through to the end, okay? So this one is Don't Give Up, and I drew it originally sideways, the wide way of the card. And then I made it this way. See the difference now? I thought it looked a little more balanced here, the words. And they sat on top of each other, as my drawings do, where the words will be on top of one another. So we have that. Okay. And then I started to draw in and sketch, I thought, where I wanted the cartoons. But I thought it's a little too narrow because the card's going to be up and down. So I have to move the cartoons. So then I took a sketch and it came out like this. Don't give up. And you notice how the cartoons are up at the top, and then I have the wording here. So it's just a matter of trying to find balance in your artwork. And sometimes you have to draw one time, 10, sometimes 100 different drawings, sketches. Okay, so now we get into the actual way that the card started to turn out. And I took this one, and let me just tell you something, by the way. We have a visitor here in the studio. I have been chasing him around all day. It's a little cricket. And we're going to say, hey, little cricket, okay. We'll just deal with him and let him just keep his cricketing going. Now you notice here, don't give up. And now I've got the cartoons kind of in the place that I'm going to have them finished out in the drawing. But now, instead of me making copy after copy of this, because I wanted to try to find out what's my color combination now, full color drawing. And so what I did is I reduced the size down. See this? Can you see this all right? So I'm going to take the big, large one, and I'm going to put this aside. And now you can see the don't give up. And it's just smaller. It's easier for me to color. So that's exactly what I did. I made about 20 of these copies of them. Now notice, take these on down so that you can see them. All right, see this one? All right, we've got this one, and I started some coloring, and I wasn't too happy with that. So then I tried some others, and I was like, oh, no, I don't think that's going to work. Then I tried some other colors. And I'm putting notes over on the side as well. I'm just thinking, hey, here's an idea. Now with a computer, it would probably be a lot easier. But like I say, I'm kind of old-fashioned in the way that I put them together. This is another one. I just drew that out. I was thinking of some earth tones, and that didn't work out well either. Another one. So remember, I'm throwing a lot of paper airplanes here. And now I'm starting to get to where I want to be. But notice all the way around here, I've got other colors I'm bringing in. I'm thinking, I wonder if this is going to work. So I come all the way down, and you're wondering, what was a completed one? Here it is. So this is a kind of a completed look that I wanted. I went back to the blue sky in the back, the classic red that's bright, and there it is. So now we take this, and here is Don't Give Up. And it is just really nice. So this is where we started out back at the beginning, that big one, and then this one, and this is kind of close. See how it is? So I thought they did a really nice job of transferring the color so that it looks exactly like I draw them. So now, talking about, and I'm going to show you also many mistakes that I've made along the way, because I think we learn from our mistakes. Instead of hiding them and saying, hey, everything went perfect, they don't always go well. Now take a look at this drawing very closely. Now I'm going to show you another one. Here's one of 4 drawings that I did, and I'm going to just turn these over real quick so you can kind of really concentrate on them, okay? How's that? There's this one. Then I've got this one, okay? And then I have this one. Now there is one important difference that I didn't notice before. I approved all the prints. We went to press. They printed the greeting cards. But there's a big difference in one of these cards. And I think I was half asleep when I was coloring it. Take a look at Pete right here. He's got a red shirt, blue pants. Red shirt, blue pants. Red shirt, blue pants. Now, take a look at this one. Blue shirt, red pants. There you go. Just something I didn't catch. Now, it's just how I've always drawn him, is with a red shirt and blue pants, but now maybe doing this, I'll try some other colors on him as well. And maybe, well, let's see what he likes to wear in the future. But I just thought I'd show you that because it just shows, hey, there's things that we don't catch. Sometimes out of mistakes, things can really take a different direction. I have one more to show you, and this was a keep your eyes on the prize, was the inside of this card. And oh, just before I forget, let me just go back to these cards and tell you what they said. This one just says don't give up. This one is friends lift one another up. This one is, I didn't forget, it just took a while to pick the flowers. And then this one is, let's take a look inside. We all need a little lift now and then. So usually the inside of the cards is black and white, and it's full color on the outside. That's how I've done a classic Pete and Peaches greeting card. And we've done many, many designs over the years. This is one that I have that's just in the sketch stage right now. I've got it where I had all the pencil drawings. Now it's well done. But do you notice something about this? You probably do. I was just drawing it to just kind of make it a rectangle, but I just think there's just too much space in here. If you take a look at this, and I'll show it to the overhead cam, you notice there's just, to me, it's just too much. So what I think I'll do in the next future drawing is I'll bring the balloon up a little more into this spot, and that will fill it in. And maybe I'll bring the sun over to balance it out a little bit on that side of Peaches. But that were just some ideas that I wanted to show you for this lesson, little lesson number 1. Now it's time for us to go to the idea box and here's what I'd like to see if you could do. Draw Pete or Peaches with a fancy paper airplane. So I have them all in white usually, and so maybe you could draw the paper airplanes with both of them on it, nobody on it, both of the cartoons in the picture, maybe some really fancy colors that you use on the paper airplane. That might be kind of neat. And thinking back, our first visit together that we had, talking about maybe some ideas of putting a picture of your pet and a little description of your pet so that we can see that. That might be really nice. Now, some of the things that I might be doing here soon, those who send in copies of their artwork or letters to me, and also drawing that paper airplane, I'm going to sign one of these and send it to you. Whoever the winner is, I'll just pick someone's name and we'll be doing that drawing at some point. And we'll be doing that on a regular basis because I've got quite a few of these, but I think it would be nice for you to have one of these prints. Well, that's a lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And next time, we'll be doing some more drawing together. Until then, thanks so much for coming by and visiting. Thank you.